That's our Reggie Strickland, baby! Woo. Thank you, Reggie. He got chanced on last Sunday. Reggie! They wanted him to sing another song, so. And we know why. Thank you. I love that song, and I just, You ever drive in your car? And all of a sudden you look next to you and you go, oh my. You see those drivers and it's like, wow, that's interesting. I've seen singers have their own private concerts in their car. I've seen family arguments, family makeups. I've seen makeout sessions. I've seen people have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in their cars. I've seen lots of grooming habits happen in their car, even up to and including picking of the nose and clearing out that earwax. Woo! And I'm sure that you have quite a number of interesting stories of what you've seen of people in their cars as well. My goodness. You know why? Because there's a false sense of security, of detachment, of anonymity when we're in our vehicle, of several thousand pounds of power locked and under our control. And we often use our cars to compensate for our emotional and physical selves. You know, a couple of nights ago, I was driving home, and it's so dark now, so early, you know, and you're trying to see, and it's at that place just as it's getting super dark. And I'm in between those yellow lines that you can use for turning, and I'm trying to get out into a lane to drive. No one's letting me out, and that's okay, but I figured it's a red light's coming. It's gonna come some point. Red light comes, and they still don't let me out. I'm like, it's a red light. And I look at the car that comes and sits right next to me at the light, and I'm thinking, what difference would it make if I sat in front of you as we all waited for the light to change? And in that instance, it was really clear that this was a give nothing, create nothing situation. You know, sometimes our cars can symbolize our power, our control, competition, dominance, and the belief that the lane we are in only belongs to us, no one else. So in this small interaction, it was just like this ding, gave nothing, creates nothing. Finally, a driver let me in the lane, and it was just that small act of kindness, and I went, wow, thank you. I was really appreciative. And then I spent the rest of the ride home looking for how could I be kind to other people on the road. A beautiful example of giving kindness creates kindness. In our spiritual community, we often acknowledge that we are energetic beings, but yet we're still surprised that the effect our energy can have on others and on the lives that we create. The energy of lack. The energy of lack. And what I mean by that is choosing not to give of your time, talents, treasures, not to give love or kindness, is a vibration of fear. A vibration of fear. And my friends, fear is the antithesis of divinity. Did you hear me? Fear is the antithesis of divinity. David Hawkins, in his book, Letting Go, reminds us of who we are as energetic beings. He writes this: interestingly enough, there is a scientific basis for Jesus Christ's admonition to bless and love our enemies. On the level of energy, the lower feelings such as anger, hate, violence, guilt, jealousy, or any other negative feelings have a lower vibration frequency, and lower power. In contrast, forgiveness, gratitude, and loving kindness have a much higher energy vibration and much greater power. I'm often surprised by the followers of Christ who think Jesus was about condemning people. These good Christians explain their condemnation of people whose sexuality, gender orientation, race, or religious beliefs are different from theirs, saying they're following God's laws. In Jesus' time on earth, he broke bread with all manner of people, men, women, tax collectors maybe, right? And the only ones he condemned were the hypocrites, the ones who professed to be of God, but were filled with greed and hatred. And he challenged people to question, what do you really define as a sin? Remember, they were going to stone that adulteress. Ye without sin, cast the first stone. I'm also saddened by the characterization of Jesus that has been created into the likeness of the Pharisees. We know the Pharisees as the first century corrupt priests, which he vehemently opposed in his lifetime. And this inaccurate depiction of Jesus is a corruption of his teachings and a corruption of his level of awakened consciousness. These good Christians use this fabrication of Jesus simply to justify their human need for righteous indignation, money, and power. My question is, how does loving our neighbors as ourselves or helping those in need prevent us from being the expression of God? To me, those are the very things that are needed to support our awakening in consciousness and to practice being God in skin. We're talking about the expression of divinity. The gift of kindness is really powerful. It creates hope, joy, and love in people's lives. And I want to share this story with you. This is Brenda Burton, and she lives in the UK, and I found her story on goodnewsnetwork.org, and their mission is to find a way to be the antidote to the barrage of negative press that we are bombarded with daily. And Brenda is a great-grandmother, and she recently had 3 little children arrive at her door on Halloween to trick or treat. Jessie, Olivia, and Walter, they were dressed up in costumes, arrived at the Newcastle home of this 86-year-old, and she said with regret that she didn't have any treats to give them. These kids replied saying, you know, it's okay, because sometimes making people happy and getting a big smile is reward enough. The kids then went to the store, and they brought chocolate, a card, muffins, a 10-pound note, and they brought it to her door the next day. And the kids addressed their card to the kind lady. Alongside doodles of pumpkins and smiley faces, they wrote, "Thank you for being so kind. Hope your life gets better as you go on." I hope your life gets better as you go on. Brenda's family said they were amazed at the kindness of the kids and that Brenda has been lost in happiness since meeting the trio. Danny Parker, Brenda's grandson, told the BBC the family has bought gifts for the kids in exchange for their generosity, and they're keen to return the money so the children can spend it on something nice for themselves. As I read that story, I teared up. You know, I thought, wow, this is so hokey, but I was like, tears were running down my face. So I was like, okay, I guess this is the story I'm sharing. But it's this situation of kindness giving rise to even more and greater kindness. And it's such a small act of kindness, but it changed Brenda's and her family's worldview. And anytime that we are able to change someone's worldview, we have the ability to help them change their heart, help them change those erroneous beliefs. Dr. Hawkins says this: everyone has the opportunity to contribute to the beauty and harmony of the world by showing kindness to all living things and thereby supporting the human spirit. That which we freely give to life flows back to us because we are equally part of that life. Like ripples on the water, every gift returns to the giver. What we affirm in others, we actually affirm in ourselves. I'm going to say that again. What we affirm in others, we actually affirm in ourselves. I think of kindness as a gateway emotion and actions that gives way to love. And in my own walk, I've come to realize that being kind to others doesn't mean folks will think I'm weak or naive. Kindness is the currency of activating the expression of the divine. I'll say that again. Kindness is the currency of activating the expression of the divine. And when we receive kindness, I don't know about you, but I cherish it wholeheartedly. Last week I received a call from a congregant and she left a message. I wasn't available at the time. And it was just this message of appreciation and just affection and seeing me and appreciating what I bring to this community. Saved that message, thank you very much. I've also received so many cards and notes from members of this community, and I saved them as well. The power of that overrides any criticism I've ever received in this community. And I pull it out time and time again, and I look at it and I reflect, and it's like it keeps me going. Just that little bit of kindness. It's powerful, my friends. The vibration of kindness is so much higher and more powerful than any negative emotion can be. And that brings me to the question, what are you bringing to your relationships? What are you bringing to work? What are you bringing to your spiritual communities? Are you bringing low vibrations of nothingness, negativity, criticism, hatred, complaints, jealousy? If your first words are to judge your spouse, your partner, your boss, your spiritual community, you are choosing to be life-negating as opposed to life-affirming. What I'm saying is that if you are choosing to resonate in those lower vibrations, then what are you going to do? You're constantly going to create unhappiness, division, and enmity. As light workers, ours is to bring harmony, support, kindness, and love to each person that we connect with. And now, my friends, I'm not talking about that unity speak. You know what I'm talking about? Saying those positive words, those positive affirmations, those positive sentences that we learn in these communities, thinking that that's the language that we should be speaking, all while holding judgment, criticism, and hatred for someone else. We know spiritual laws. We know spiritual laws work. What we hold in our thoughts is what we create in our world. So I'm going to digress for a minute. I'm going to talk about the 10 Commandments because it's not deep enough for you, so let's go there. We all know about Moses. He had a vision of the burning bush, the laws of God. The third commandment says not to take the name of the Lord in vain. Now, in my family, they were literal interpreters of the Bible. So that meant anytime I said, "Oh my God," I was sinning as far as they were concerned. But our way shower, Jesus, his mission in life was about supporting us in the evolution of consciousness. In his Sermon on the Mount, Jesus teaches us what the third commandment really means. In Matthew 5, verse 37, it's written, "Let your word be yes, yes, or no, no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one." Jesus was referring to the legal system of that time period, in which men were called to bear witness and to swear an oath to God that they were speaking the truth and not lies. And Jesus was saying, don't swear an oath to God, but be of God. Be of God. Be of truth in everything that you say and everything that you do. He was calling us to be the light in the world and refute lies and corruption. Again, the question stands. What are you bringing to your relationships? What are you bringing to your workplaces? What are you bringing to your spiritual communities? Are you bringing hope or despair? Are you bringing kindness or apathy? Are you bringing light or deceit? And let's look at those everyday interactions that we have with others. What kinds of connections are you creating? As you drive down the road, are you being understanding or hostile? As you purchase items and you're speaking to the cashier, are you speaking with dignity or disdain? If you have a meal out with your friends, the server, are you being inclusive or dismissive? Dr. Hawkins reminds us of the power of love. In the energy field of love, we are surrounded with love, and that brings gratitude. We are thankful for our life and for all the miracles of life. We are thankful for the doggies and the kittens because they represent love. Notice I'm not seeing Cindy and Tim. They got a new puppy like 2 days ago. I'm not noticing them here. We are grateful for every act of kindness from others, their affection, caringness, and thoughtfulness. Eventually, we just become love. Everything we do and say, every moment we make is energized by the lovingness that we have owned within ourselves. Spiritual truth is love generates love. Love creates a world filled with hope and possibility. And today is a new dawn, my friends. And we have the choice to be the outpicturing of a God of love and grace. The outpicturing of a God of love and grace. We have the choice to live with care and kindness, understanding that it is really all that's necessary to be the expression of divinity. We're creating, my friends, together. Behold, we make all things new. Together. Behold, we create all things new. Namaste.